So we're here today at Shankara in Koh Samui. I'm here with the wonderful Laura Hof. She is the Icewoman. I call you this now. She is also the daughter of the Iceman Wim Hof. Welcome. I'm so very excited to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So for anyone who's not familiar with Wim Hof Method, I don't think there's many people left that don't know Wim Hof, but just for you to like put it into a nutshell, like what are the three pillars and just
Yes.
in your own words, basically.
Yes. For me, it's also a philosophy, but we do have a set of tools, and which is three pillars. So it's based on breathing techniques, very specific breathing techniques that are really a dive into the soul, and they touch upon your emotional, physical, mental levels. Then we have actually cold exposure, and we have many different types. But we love the ice bath. So the ice bath is the most direct one. And the third one is mindset.
Okay.
So how do you use your mind? The mind is, I think, the most powerful pillar. Because when you use the mind, you actually are using all of the faculties of the body. Because mind and body is very much connected, right? And so when we hone in and tap into the potential of this mind, the power of the mind, you're touching upon every little cell in the body.
What are some of the long-term effects that people can expect from the breathing techniques, especially the ice baths, the cold exposure?
I think, as I told you, it really touches upon mental, emotional, physical level. Physically, we saw in studies that it reduces inflammation. It's a complete boost. White blood cells, they go up. And that is instant, simply in one breathing session. For me, this is one of the most important things, just regarding to the modern lifestyle that we're living. 95% of modern conditions and modern diseases is based on inflammation. And we can tackle that in a natural way. And very simple, just do 3 rounds of breathing. And you're already making sure that you're in the best state of mind. So that is one thing. It's a preventative medicine, the way that I see it, functional medicine. But you also emotionally, you just feel amazing. And it's because we're really deblocking all of these channels that we have. The stress that we experience, it just goes away. It flies away. And when we have stress, we're really much in sort of the regions of the brain, or the fear center of the brain. And that means that we cannot be present. We cannot be here and now. Actually, we are built to be here and now, and to be dealing with stress in a very easy way. Stress is part of life.
Right.
We cannot...
But we can decide how we want to deal with it. So it balances the nervous system.
Yes. So what we have seen also in research is that actually we can tap into the nervous system in a very effective way and influence it through the breath. And that's something that the nervous system is pretty much the electrical wiring of our system. All of our bodily systems is connected to this. So when we tap into the nervous system and influence it, I would say control it.
Control it even,
We pretty much control all of our bodily systems. And I think with regards to stress, that's the most important one. Because stress is, I think, the biggest problem in the Western world. Stress leads to inflammation, and we're not talking about short bursts of stress. So eustress, that's actually very beneficial. And that is what we do with the method.
Can you just explain that a little bit? Because I'm sure our audience is not necessarily familiar with eustress.
Yes.
What is eustress?
Yes. So actually, if you think about our ancestors, they went out of the cave. They had no phones. Went out of the cave and in search for food. So they had to hunt and really go into a gearing, activation of their system. And so, they had a little stress here and there, but then they recuperate. And so we are actually built to deal with short bursts of stress. It makes us more resilient mentally. And so a little bit of stress, challenge,
Yeah. So the breathing.
Yes.
How do I say? It mimics it kind of.
100%. Yeah. And what you can see that, for example, also with cortisol. So the cortisol goes up. Cortisol is a stress hormone. It goes up. We activate the system, but then it comes down to a more balanced point. Same you see with the pH level. We really give a push. We challenge ourselves. And then it comes back to a more resilient.
So then if we do this on a regular basis, our baseline will be much lower.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. So most of the time, we need a balance. We need an activation of our nervous system. We need a rest part. Both we need. Going out of your home, you need to be active, meeting your deadlines, making sure you're focused. But then when you're home, you need to be able to relax.
To relax, yeah. I mean, most of us, because we're so stressed all the time, it's chronic, right?
It's chronic.
You're sitting at home on our sofa, still feeling stressed.
Yes, and not being able to sleep, not being able to metabolize your food, not being able to be social with your friends and family, not being here and now. And that creates all kinds of different problems. Chronic stress, that creates inflammation. And that is just the root cause of any type of condition. Mental problems, emotional problems, so and physical problems, of course. And so if we tackle this, you'll be able to be in a relaxed state of your nervous system, of your state, but also to deal with stress in a much better way. So when the stress comes, it's okay. You're the eye of the storm.
Yes.
The storm can happen, but you can move through it with ease and grace. This is what we do. And we do that because, first of all, we put ourselves in the right state of mind, emotionally speaking, of the nervous system. Second, we learn to deal with stress in a very profound way. When we go into the ice bath, the ice bath is a big stressor. I don't think there is one that teaches you about stress in the most direct way. Why? Because it's automatic. You go into the ice bath and the automatic reaction of your whole entire being says, this is not safe, we need to go out. But that is exactly the moment when we can learn to mirror ourselves, our response to stress, and mold that response, that conditioned response to stress that we have. When we learn to deal with stresses in an ice bath, we actually learn to deal with any type of stressor in our life. And it's called cross-adaptation, dealing with one type of stress. Make sure that you can deal with other stresses. This said though, it is the most direct way. You can have a little stress like, okay, I don't like spiders, let's touch the spider. But this is putting yourself in a complete immersive, stressful environment, situation. And in that moment, we can take that moment, taking the reign
and take control of that.
Take control of the stressful moment. And that is when we are literally rewiring our relationship with stress. And it's very profound, very direct. And the neurocircuitry, really, it's what you're building right there. It's profound. Second time is already easier.
Okay.
Second time is already easier, just because you know what is coming.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that. So would you also say that it boosts the immune system?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
So we saw in scientific study, inflammatory markers, they go down. And so they saw that with IL-6, IL-8, you have anti-inflammatory markers and you have pro-inflammatory markers. Okay. So there is a complete boost of the immune system. We also have this white blood cell count. Taking an ice bath gives you a boost for 6 days after.
6 days.
You see? It's amazing.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So they say they saw a higher white blood cell count. And white blood cells are the soldiers of your immune system. I see the red blood cells as our little sisters, carrying the oxygen to each and every cell. And actually, what we do is also mimicking high altitude training. High altitude training, you have athletes, even maybe you know about Lance Armstrong. He had to give in 5 of his cups back just because he took EPO. EPO, erythropoietin. So it's a molecule that signals that there is something going on in the body. There's too low levels of oxygen. And then there is a signal that we need to release more red blood cells. Not only that, also more blood veins. And so we actually have mimic this type of effect of the EPO. So more red blood cells. That means more oxygen, more blood veins, more oxygen. Lymphatic system, cardio. I mean, I could go forever, but it's amazing. Yes, it's so good for the health.
So how often? So you do the breathing every day, I suppose.
Almost every day.
Almost every day.
Yeah.
And then the ice bath you do
when it's there.
When it's there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had an ice bath. I really just bought a big fridge, so I had a little call like, "Hey, I want to big." It was just a second-hand fridge. Could you please tell me if a whole person fits in there? And so they thought, pardon? It was quite kind of funny. It's like I'm some kind of serial killer. Yes. Anyway, but I had that one. That one broke. Afterwards, I did cold showers, which is already quite amazing. Okay. It's they have a lot of holistic benefits. Yeah. We know it also of Ayurveda, right?
So anyone who doesn't have access to a bath and ice, they can do cold showers. They'll still reap some sort of benefit.
A lot of benefits. A lot of benefits. The mental benefits, really beating your inner saboteur. Yeah. This is the way that I see it. So there are moments in Holland, we have very cold showers. So that is great.
Yeah, that's great. I guess in Asia, not all the showers
not so much. Yeah. So I understand. In Asia, there is still contrast. So because you're so warm, the blood veins are open, cold shower will still be a cold shower. Okay. But if you want to challenge yourself, you don't have an ice bath, bucket of ice, bucket of water with some ice, put your feet in it for 5 minutes.
Okay, yeah.
Unbelievable. Or the face. Face 20 seconds. And there's such a thing as mammalian diving reflex.
Yeah. Only 20 seconds?
Only 20 seconds.
Okay. Because normally the ice bath is about, I don't know,
2 minutes. Yes. Okay. But this is a different mechanism. Okay. And so we have this beautiful survival mechanism and when you are at 20 seconds, just the face in, it relaxes, of course, all of the muscles and the blood flow going through your face. You get a little blood veins creation again. But not only that, there's a thing that's called mammalian diving reflex, and we are mammals. Yeah. And so when you submerge yourself in water, and you need to survive, it doesn't. It's not logical to panic. And so what happens is that we become very calm. It puts us in a parasympathetic, calmful, restful state to make sure that you can assess the situation. This is the way that I explain it, because why do you have this mechanism? It's to make sure that you are in the best state of survival. And so this is just 20 seconds.
Okay.
So
everybody should try.
Yeah. And the feet I love as well. Yeah. I went traveling with my father a lot. And also we went to Australia. And there we also had events and no ice bath. And what are we going to do? And so what we did is just really bucket with water and ice.
Feet in it.
He just looks at the tally or does, But because the circulation goes all the way to the feet and back, it's a perfect point to submerge your feet in it. And 5 minutes, you will feel an enormous difference already. Nice. But cold shower, I think the most accessible way, easiest way. And so I always say, if you have a cold environment, just take your cold shower. Sometimes a nice ice bath. It's the most important, I find, for stress management. It's the most effective also for example, your immune system. But you don't need it on a daily basis to get all of the benefits. No. That's for men maybe more than
women.
Yeah, they would. I think men just love it. It gives
Yeah.
a boost of dopamine.
Okay,
I understand. But for women, more careful. We need to be a little
because
bit more...
testosterone goes up, or why
As well.
Yeah.
We saw in studies, there is a study with regards to women and only submersing the hands in cold water,
Okay.
ice cold water, and there was a boost of testosterone.
Okay.
I don't know of any other studies with regards to testosterone, but
Yeah.
I imagine, and I
Yes.
think, yes, I do think that happens. It's also, we have a hormonal cycle.
Yes.
So we have big hormonal shifts during our lives, and we have monthly cycles. And so it is very important to be very mindful.
Aware of when you're doing it,
Yeah. And I see it with a lot of women that are athletes, for example, or very much in their head. They will go for 10-minute ice bath every day, but it can interfere with
your own cycle.
Yes, and so there's a delicate dance going on there.
So what do you suggest? Like what is when is the ideal time to do ice baths?
Yeah, I think first thing is really listen to your body.
Your own body.
That is really the first advice that we give to everybody, because that's what we want to learn. We want to make sure that we have this technology within. If you are in tune, you will know, you will notice, you will feel the subtle difference of a no and a yes.
Okay.
We're really built like this.
Yeah.
Second thing is, of course, during your period.
Yeah. You would not recommend.
I would say,
because you're already quite vulnerable as a woman. Yeah. Okay.
And that's the time to really retrieve.
Yeah.
And just be more in the warmth.
Yeah.
So yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the most important.
To pay attention to that. Yeah.
100%. Women are so intuitive.
Yes.
If we learn to hone that intuitive gift that we have, and this beautiful cycle, we move with the cycles. I also know that stress, one of the major issues that women have, especially nowadays, is stress. And that can interfere with the hormonal cycle. Yeah. But cold exposure, breathing, it balances out.
I was just going to say, it kind of helps you balance
100%.
the hormonal level.
Yes. And you see that because we tap into this nervous system, hormonal system, it's actually called the neuroendocrine system.
Yeah.
Means they go together.
Yeah.
Nothing is disconnected. And so when we really can reduce the stress levels and put ourselves in a restful state, the intelligence of the body will do it all for us.
Yeah. Amazing. You've written a book for women
about
the Wim Hof Method. Maybe you can share a little bit what we can expect.
Yeah, this is the Wim Hof Method for women, and we really dived into I think some of the issues that women have been struggling with, a lot of questions that we got from our community with regards to cold exposure and breathing, and are we different, and how should we react, and what. But again, the most important message really of this whole book, and that is also of the method, can you really tap into that intelligence of the body, the trust, the intuition, because that's actually what we want to train. And you can train this. This is neurology. Of course, hormonal. These are communication channels, but it is neurology, and these are push buttons. And for us, this is the most important thing: tapping into our inner nature, into those technologies that are already available to us. But we need to have this moment and tap into those. When we do that, you flow. There's an intelligence that knows. And you learn to trust that intelligence. And so that is the most important message. At the end of the day, the mission of this book for me is really to empower women and to make sure that they're in the best state where they can be, fully optimized. And I believe on the ground level, on a world scale level, we have this, I almost compare it and couple it with the nervous system, yes? We're far more in the fight and flight, go, But what about this rest and relax and restoration part? both are needed to have balance. I don't only want to be in the rest and because then you get lethargic and you stay on the couch and I'll eat my bag of potato chips and I'm just not going to do anything. It's also not good for you, right?
So, we need a nice balance.
Yes. And so I do believe that this method for women, it can create maybe a little bit more power, less anxiety. Women struggle a lot with anxiety. They're also so caring. They give they don't think about themselves.
Right.
And the first point, you have to love yourself. Then you can give your love to others. Else you're depleting. But on the grants, we go back to the mission. I think is this grant level that we're so much in the go, and I think that's the masculine. I think this is the masculine, and we need to rebalance it to make sure that we can address all of these issues that you see in the world. I think it's part of this too much in the go, too much of this masculine, too much of the we just go. This broadening. Women are far more inclusive, I would say. Men are. It's even the way they. If you tell a man, could you please fetch me the salt? Very difficult to find it in the kitchen. And why? Because they're so straight that they cannot see the broader view. A woman is far more broader in her view, so it's far more inclusive. She can take in, but it's also the way that I think, if we address these problems in the world, how can we do that? We need to take in everything into account. And so, in that sense, I think this is just this feminine power that I want to, give a little bit more power to, and I do see it as a. I never had very big examples in my life. I've also been raised by a man, of course. So that means I just go and I do this and that and. But I'm also very feminine. It is really very much. But I'm also that I have by my father never understood the difference. Only later. Only later.
Interesting.
I just thought everybody's just the same and that's it. But what I did have is I never really looked up to. There were not a lot of female examples. I think that I really looked up to. And I do see it sometimes as my mission that I also can show there are many different varieties of powerful women. And there's a whole mix of it. And you don't even have to choose those.
Right.
You can create your own.
And
I think that's very important, especially with, sometimes I see, well, you understand how women are portrayed sometimes. It's like only when you're when you do this or that,
look a certain way, or when you do
exactly
certain things. And
don't align with that. But a young woman that is still searching, that's all she got. That's all she got.
Yeah, I like that.
So
nice. Okay. I would love to speak a little bit about how you grew up, maybe, because you've been exposed to cold exposure and breathing techniques. I think your whole life, I suppose, right?
Yes.
How was that, and maybe also the death of your mother, how has that shaped your family and who you are today?
I love my mother, but she died, she committed suicide when I was 8, and it was actually in Spain, in the apartment complex of my grandmother. And she kissed us actually goodbye. And she was hugging a little bit too tight, and she was a little bit, there was like, what is going on? And it was that night actually that we prayed, we always prayed together before sleeping, that she took her life. And that was really the beginning of a very dark period, I think, for the whole family. And my father was left with 4 kids. And my father is is really a wild man, I would say. So you can imagine, it's like a big kid raising 4 kids.
4 kids.
Yes. So I always say he's the 5th kid of the house. But it also began his quest, I think. Just because my mother died, there was his way of really going into the extremes. And that's
when he really kind of like
he went
deep into this.
Yeah.
All the teachings that the world knows today.
Yes, and so there is it began with suffering. It began with pain. It began with something that is just explosively painful.
Yeah.
But out of that is now a method
so
that is
that's changing the world.
Yeah, and the mission is it's very authentic. And my father, if anybody suffers, he's the first one to help them, because it comes from a place that he wants to. Yeah, he wants to help. He wants to make the change. And this world is changing. This is how we see it.
Yes, very much. Yeah.
And so this is a shift of consciousness. But it all began with my mother.
And did you ever doubt his teaching?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm sure, like in the beginning.
Yes.
I don't know. Were you as kids? Were you wondering? Like, okay,
I know. Well, this is the funny part about it. I love my father. I was also a little bit of a weird kid, so my father was like my best friend.
Okay.
There were four kids. My sister was a little bit ashamed, but because he was doing yoga on the square, in his shorts, in the winter. So, you want your dad to be normal, like in the back, and don't be flashy, don't get it. But he was very much like a kid. This is the thing. So our childhood was not normal. Yes. It was very unusual. But I loved it. We didn't have a lot. Like if I think about back in those days, we were quite poor, and we're probably the poorest in a quite poor neighborhood.
Right. Okay.
However, we were the happiest. It was always a lot of fun. My father had a home, and there was a lot of love and play. Yeah. Completely love and play. And that is really what I appreciate of his teachings. Yeah. That because of that, I can have fun anywhere. And I do love luxury. I do love, but as an add-on, not as the core. Yeah. And so I'm very happy with that, because that is happiness. Yeah. Happiness is really created from the inside. So I loved our childhood. Yeah. I wasn't, in the beginning, I didn't do the breathing, but I had a nightmare. It's later. Yeah. Okay, I was, when I had a nightmare, and 4 o'clock in the morning, I went to the living room. My father was doing his breathing. Okay. Every day, every single day. If it was winter, we went outside playing. Yeah. Doesn't matter what kind of weather. Snow everywhere, jumping in the lake. And we as kids were very much going by feeling. It was cold, hat, jacket. Okay, there you got jacket.
And that was during that time where he already kind of gained some attention from the media, or not yet?
Really, his whole life he was doing this. Okay. It was really after the death of my mother, going into these extremes. 2 hours of sitting in a bucket of ice. And really making his money, sort of like a circus act. It really was perceived as that. But he was so peculiar that science got interested in him. That's because he was doing the impossible. And that's when...
But he was getting relief out of it. That was his motivation behind it.
100%. I think the way that... it was these extremes. When you are in pain... you don't know what to do with yourself. Yeah. You don't know what to do with yourself. So I think it was his way of coping with the death of his mother. And he always says, my children made me survive, but the cold healed me. Okay. Yes. And I understand this, because when you go into the cold, everything really falls away. Yeah. You can only be
it's
here.
Like all those layers.
It's gone.
Just gets stripped away. Yeah.
It's gone. Yeah. And you cannot think about yesterday. You cannot think about tomorrow. It just strips away. Yeah. I also believe that there's an enormous emotional release that comes with the cold, and it's physical. I also think it's mental, but you go to the pain. This is the difference. You go to the pain. I'm thinking about this now, because you go to the pain, accepting the pain.
Yeah, it's like you're facing it and you're accepting it.
Yes, it can dissolve. Yeah. It can slowly dissolve. And that's actually what we do with the nice breath as well. We go to the pain, sit in it, and it doesn't help to hold on tight. To resist, because it's gonna win. You just have to let go. You have to let go. And in that moment, then there's a release. So this is very much coupled to that. I think about it now, I'm like, oh yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. And the breathing as well. I think we are not only humans, we also are souls. And you connect with the soul. And from that, the humanness of ourselves becomes a beautiful journey that is full of life and full of pains and bliss. They can all coexist.
All part of the, what did you call it earlier? It's all the experiences together.
Harmony.
Yes, harmony, but what did you call it? The box of life.
The box of life.
Or
the backpack of life.
The backpack of life. Sorry, yes.
Yes. Yeah, we talked about it.
We just have a collection of experiences.
Yeah. I mean, you have a book of life. That's how you can see backpack of life. And the book of life, if you choose a book, you want some challenge in the book. You want the protagonist to.
No proper
there's no book. So a great book, it's full of challenges, overcoming, changing, and becoming another version of yourself. And this is the humanness. This is the human experience, I think, that we...
At what point did you decide that you wanted to follow in your father's footsteps? Because I think for a long time, I think you weren't...
Not at all.
Working in the company, you were sort of doing your own thing. You wanted to become a lawyer at one point.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I wanted to become a lawyer.
What happened? Like, why did you have this sort of change of heart?
Yeah, if I think back on it, it's probably like 7 years, maybe 8 years. I began thinking about it. I was traveling with my father, heard so many different stories from people whose lives has been transformed. Very profound. And really, it touches you. It touches you on a very profound level. And you just feel that connection, which is unbelievable. These set of tools, the way that you can change a person's life, it's so direct. You can give. It's just, and you can make it your work, but it's almost not work. It's almost something that you just give and you feel good.
It's a calling.
Yes.
That you're...
Yes. So I'm not sure if I can say it, but it's about 7 years that I really decided I want to do it. I want to become an instructor. I really want to teach this method. My father, of course, immediately, yes.
Okay, but I think it was your brother.
But my brother said no. So so I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And then actually,
because your brother works in the company.
Yeah. So he really makes also final decisions.
Some of the decisions, Okay.
So I couldn't do it. And then together with my sister, actually, we decided to do it anyway. But in secret, we just took time off, vacation days, and we just pretended that we went to some kind of nice little weekend somewhere. That was the first training. And the second was a week in Poland. And in between, we were doing this academy. And so we climbed the mountain in shorts. That is the freezing mountain. And afterwards we told our brother. And he was still not happy.
Not happy.
No, it took a little bit of time.
Okay.
I think a month or two.
That
he had to, because it was done. It was done already. So what are you gonna do? I always say it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. Very much my father, actually. Just go and then you'll see how we deal with the situation later. It makes life also so much more fun.
I'm sure now, and you must be so proud now.
Yes. Yeah, now it's unbelievable because now he asked me to do certain...
Exactly,
Yeah, so
amazing.
You have to really follow your heart.
Yeah.
Just follow whatever is...
What you feel is right for you.
Yeah, it's so important. I really believe that this world is actually built like a little symbiotic oasis.
Yeah.
That if everybody were to be able to choose whatever their calling is, whatever they feel, we would be perfectly in balance. Because nobody's going to choose the same thing.
Yeah,
everybody's different, and they have their gifts based on that unique blueprint that we all carry.
Yeah.
And you can see this uniqueness of people. Sometimes I hear, I'm not happy in my job. Just quit.
Just quit.
Just stop.
Do something
stop.
else.
I couldn't do it. I'm
we
very.
Have one life.
It's one life. One life. And I'm very much like, when I do something that I don't like, if it's for something bigger, then I can do things that I don't like. No problem at all. It's part of the. But when I do something that I don't like, and there's not a bigger,
like a
bigger goal,
like a bigger picture.
Yes.
Yeah, like a bigger goal. Yeah.
I feel it immediately.
Yeah.
It's just not
draining.
It's draining. It's not part of my path.
Yeah.
And so I have to quit.
And then you
well,
at least you're so in tune with yourself that you recognize that. I think there's many people out there who don't. You know, they don't go within and they don't even realize that maybe they're really unhappy. Yeah.
It's absolutely true.
Yeah.
I do believe that when you do this method, you get such a clarity.
Yeah.
You come to that center point.
Yeah.
And there.
Yeah, because you're so centered.
So centered.
Yeah.
And the conditioning is very clear then. You see who you actually are not. You see the decisions you make, and hey, actually it's not part of who I am.
Yeah.
And that is so good to do that.
Yeah.
And for me, it's almost like this divinity. It's the point of the clarity that comes.
Yeah, nicely said. Yeah. So, what do the next 5-10 years look like for the Wim Hof method? Like, where you or where is the family taking it? Like, how can we see it develop? Because obviously, with all the biohacking that's happening now, like, how are you integrating that? How are you combining it with other methods?
Yeah, it's so funny because I think this philosophy of really staying true to your nature, for me, I find it absolutely great that there's so many other modalities springing up, because together we are raising this consciousness, and so it can be done in many different ways. It's just togetherness. So I think this staying true to our nature will stay very much part of the way that we operate. That's just because of my father.
Yeah, totally.
It's just the way that we operate. I do have some ideas. I am a generator, so I do have some ideas. How can we integrate that? Because you have different people with different wants. You have an executive, you have an employee. You have somebody that is much more into the emotions, somebody that is much more cognitive. And so the way that you raise consciousness is also different. Others would love to track where they are. And so I do feel that devices and some of the... They're
like all the wearables.
Yes, great.
Can help you.
Yeah.
With the method as well.
100%. 100%. And I see this with friends. I have doctors, very cognitive, and they love these variables. And I can see them changing as well, so it's absolutely fine. I think it goes together. But I think that we will probably be very much just with the simplicity of the method, stay with that.
Staying with that,
we never think in terms of growth, like, what is the next quarter and this, and how can we make sure that we are 500% bigger, and it's just not really part of it.
Yeah, so it's a natural, organic.
Whoa, absolutely.
Growth and expansion,
Everything, the whole method has been grown organically, and it is not top down. This is why I think it's so powerful. It is very much bottom up. And because it works so profoundly and it's so effective, everybody shares it bottom up. And it goes through all layers of society.
Yes.
And how it manifests.
Yeah, because it's so simple and everybody can just access it and do it. Yeah.
That's it. And I think it's important. So we will do that. And
But do you have plans for, I don't know, more retreats, or you have a big
at the moment
travel schedule? I know.
Yeah, I know. Speaking engagements. I really enjoy them.
Yeah.
It's part of my growth as well, and so I love to combine growth and what can I give. Yeah. Growth and what can I give, and how can I take a place whereby I can make the whole more complete, but I can add and I can be of value. Yeah. It's very important for me to be if I'm not at value, I'm unhappy.
Okay.
It's really, so I try to find where can I be of utmost maximum value. And I think in this phase, it's probably going to be more speaking, maybe also retreats because I love it, and this book coming out, which is really important for me. And I hope that with this book I can share more of what the...
Maybe a platform of some sort?
Yes, but that's in the beginning stages.
Got it.
It's part of this, how can we help women to be the best version of themselves? And also in this world that is very masculine, I really have to say. And so it's still a man's world. I love men, so don't get me wrong. I'm not, but it's also important for men to hone in on the masculine, feminine. And for women to make sure that they also have this empowerment, that they know they are perfect just the way they are. They don't need, I do like a little makeup here and there as well. I do like to be pretty. I do like my heels. I do like to be feminine. I do like to be a woman. But make it delicious. And don't let it be a requirement for you to be
don't let
enough.
Else dictate what that's supposed to look like.
Well, exactly. Yeah. Because everybody's unique. Yeah. And then when you're unique, you share the best gift of yourself. It's always like this.
Yeah, very much.
And so for me, it's still evolving. It's still evolving where I'm going to.
And on a personal level, is there, I don't know, something that you're working on or that you're kind of, I don't know.
I think I had this period, which is absolutely lovely. Just really the acceptance that comes with adulting, I would say, because I'm very much like a kid, have been for a very long time. Okay. And finally I feel, wow, I'm really becoming a woman. And I find that beautiful, beautiful. So this polarity of feminine, masculine, I have been very much go. It's very also part of my blueprint, very much. But really exploring this feminine of mine, which is softness,
nurturing.
Yes, because I'm very much that as well. So that I think is a beautiful.
I think you have a very nurturing side.
Yeah.
That kind of comes out in the retreat.
Yeah. I think I'm a 6, so that means the mother.
Okay.
I do have a mother inside of me, very much so. So I like to. Hold, I like to caress, I like to make sure everybody is doing, and when everybody's happy, it makes my heart happy. So for me it's important that everybody feels good and that they can be themselves and that they are
feel safe to be themselves.
Yes, very important for me. Cool. So lovely that you recognize this.
Very much. Is there anything that you wanted to share that we haven't touched upon? I mean, we could talk for hours, I think, but
I think really just, when people are happy, when you are happy, you're only going to share the best part of yourself. You're not going to create problems. That's on the micro level and the macro level. And you see this in the world. What is very important is that we need to change the base of who we are. The consciousness within. That's for me very important. If we change that consciousness, everything rearranges itself. We just come to a more beautiful and happy world. So that's important for me. That's really the only message I would say.
Yeah. Do you have I don't know, a motto that you live by?
Relax, nothing is under control.
Oh, I like that. Very, very true.
Oh my God, when you're stressing out, you're very narrowly thinking. You can't really assess the situation. You're not tapped into the intuitive capabilities that you have. When you're relaxed, it all just flows.
It flows.
And then you're tapping into the wisdom that you already carry. Sometimes we are alone in our room. What do you think about? Yeah, what do you think about?
What's the best thing that your dad has taught you?
I think really,
The playfulness?
playfulness. Don't take life too seriously.
Okay. Yes.
It's very important to play. In the end of the day, we have this life. It has been given to us as a gift, to explore who we are. And so every experience has a little lesson. And it is our, well, not a job, but it's our gift to be able to experience it. And just to do it in a playful manner. Then it's going to be more fun for you and for everybody around.
Everybody else involved.
And when you're just too serious, you cannot recognize the gifts. It's impossible. And play and wow and transform and metaphor. So be playful. Even in the most serious situations, you can be focused. You can change your being, but then still relax.
I see you embodying both, Because I feel you're very focused, you're very responsible, and at the same time, you can be very, very playful. I love that. I love that.
Yeah, you can transform. I love Bruce Lee, for example. Be like water. Really, be like water. And you can transform into anything that you want. And it's also good because you're moving with the situations, with the energies of the whole experience. And you're part of it. You are the experience.
You are the experience. Absolutely.
So I think playfulness, not being too seriously in life. Be serious about the mission you have.
About the mission that you have.
But then let it go.
And then
it's not that I don't
enjoy the ride.
Enjoy the ride. It's a joyful ride. And so you have a mission. You can be focused. But relax.
And how can people connect with you? Through, I don't know, Instagram or... Through the Wim Hof Method website?
So there's a beautiful website. It's called Wim Hof Method. We also have an amazing app. It's also called Wim Hof Method. Very easy. Very easy too. And then we have the my Instagram. You also have Wim Hof Method, but else Laura Hof Alchemy.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to share your message and
thank you
for us to experience your retreat as well. And
it was amazing. Destination Deluxe and Aether Living. What a wonderful retreat this was. Absolutely mind-blowing. And there's this setting, Shankara. Wow!
The setting's stunning,
It's stunning. It's like entering a dream. And being able to stay in this dream. Soaking it all up. I hope that I get to relive this dream when I go away.
When you go away.
A lot of beautiful experiences. Thank you.
Thank you.